Ryan Young, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu. I hope you're doing well. So we're in my home studio right now because I actually have something here that I wanted to use as kind of a prop for the purpose of this video. Anyway, I'm from KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu. We have 3 campuses, one in Southern California in Irvine, one in Dallas, Texas in Flower Mound, and one in Austin, Texas. Come see us when you are around. We'd love to have you. Anyway, a message came from one of our instructors in our Irvine campus, and he asked me to do a video on the mindset for injury prevention and training while recovering. And I guess this is kind of apropos because as many of you know who watched past videos, I have been recovering from shoulder surgery. And not only shoulder surgery, but double shoulder surgery. So I had my left one done my right one done a year ago and my left one done 10 months ago. So they were 2 months apart. Anyway, shoulder surgery sucks, just letting you know. The pain wasn't super bad, but the recovery is really bad. And my cousin, Sheldon Young, over at Taco Jiu-Jitsu, which is our affiliate in Hawaii, he had warned me about it. He said, oh, it's the worst, because I had 2 knee surgeries, and I thought, knee surgery wasn't that bad. He goes, yeah, wait till you get shoulder surgery. Sure enough, yeah. That's why I just got them both done and over with so I can recover both together, which, in retrospect, yeah, I'd do it again. Anyway, so what is the mindset for injury prevention and training while recovering? First of all, you can't really stop training. Now, you guess you could, but what's the fun in that, right? Because I love training, and the reason why I went in for surgery wasn't necessarily because of my training, although it's just from years of wear and tear. Remember, I've been doing this for 32 years now, and stuff happens. Things just wear out, and things break, and then you just got to get them fixed. But is it one of those where I get myself fixed and I go, yeah, I'm done training? Absolutely not. I get myself fixed so I can go back to training. But while you're recovering, there is a point at which you just say, you know what, I just want to get on the mat and I just want to start training. And for me, that was probably at about month, maybe 5 or 6. Yeah, that's about when I got into training. So now when it comes to what am I thinking about, right? So I don't get injured or I don't make it worse, or I don't re-injure what's just been fixed. I have to go in there thinking that I don't care if I win or lose. I just want to get in and train. Now, here's a pretty good example of what I use as a metaphor when kind of determining what I can and cannot do. And this is something that you use even if you're injured and haven't gone in for surgery or something, but you just use it just because it makes sense for you. And well, let me just kind of go and explain it. So, all right. So, if you see this, what you see is the KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu logo. Okay. Now, kind of work with me on this. Give me some space here. I'm not doing like a shameless plug, but the reason why I use this in this metaphor is because of the sections that it comes in. So if you look over here, right, there's a section here, and it's got a nice break off right here. There's another section here, another break off, another section, and finally this big section here. So this is the way I explain it to students. When you are in perfect condition, right, you can kind of imagine that you have the entire area of the logo as your physical ability. So let's say this is you at 100%. All the sections in there, you are 100%. Somebody who's injured, let's say it's just a slight injury, like a nagging type of injury, you'll have everything up until this section here. So from here on that way, that's what you have available. So you might only be about 10% hampered by missing this section, right? Let's say you have another few injuries, and that takes your abilities down to this section, which means that you have from here to there, but you stop. You don't have this available. This is off limits. So that would say that you are about maybe 30 or 40% hampered, right? So that means you only have about 60% of your abilities at your disposal. And let's say you lose another section from here to here. Let's call that about half. It's a little bit less, but let's just say it's half. So if you only have this much physical ability And we could even say that, let's say your entire left-hand side is just not usable, right? Left shoulder, left elbow, left knee, left foot, ankle. It's all out. That's all on this side. So all you have is the right side of your body left. So that would mean, most of you are right-handed, so you're better on the right side than your left. So you have a little bit more than 50% of your capacity to fight at your disposal. So that would mean that all this side is injured. This is all my left side. So what am I going to do? Well, first of all, if I'm injured on my left side, I'm not going to play left-handed, right? I'm only going to play right-handed. And that's kind of the mentality you need to play. So if your opponent takes you to playing on the opposite side, which is the wrong side, you need to either stop, you need to tap, or you need to find a way to maneuver him to get you back to playing on this side. So you're limited, right, because of your injury or because you're recouping from your injury. So this is me. So, let's say shoulders take up, from here to here. So I have that and that. So I have about 2/3 of my ability left, but I'm losing 1/3 because both my shoulders are jacked. I need to play a heavier game that has less to do with pulling in my case. Pushing, I'm not so bad. Pushing is okay. It's pulling that doesn't work so well. And keep in mind, those of you who do jiu-jitsu, I contend that we do a lot more pulling than we do pushing. So that kind of tells you that anytime I have to use my hands, my arms, and all that kind of stuff, then I'm going to be in a little bit of pain, which means that I need to not push it too hard because I don't want to re-injure it. There is a certain amount that I need to train through as part of my rehab. But for the most part, I cannot go 100%. In fact, I can't even hang from a bar, to kind of give you an idea. My own body weight, I can't do it. I can't hang from a bar. I have to use one of those bands, those bands that help to kind of make me a little lighter to make it ease on my shoulders. And even then, just opening up to the full range hurts a lot. But, so I can play right here. So for those of you who are injured, here's what I suggest. So play, and let's say you only can go up to here, right? You're here to here. You start approaching this area. Don't go to the point where you're going to cross the line and go to where you're injured and hurt yourself. Instead, as you approach that area where you're going to be approaching a zone of injury, you're going to veer off. And you're just going to stay in your little space right here, right? You're not going to even entertain the thought of crossing over to this side because that will mean that you're just going to injure yourself. So what you need to do is as you approach, you go this way. And you can either stop just short of it and tap and say, no, I can't go there. Or you're just going to simply maneuver your opponent to where you just play where you can play, right? So you just kind of maneuver back in your space. Whereas, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll get into this spot and, let's say they get stingers in their neck or their shoulder, when they lay on their back, they can't put their hands back on the ground as if somebody's going to put an Americana on you, right? If they even put your hand on the ground, put your hand on the ground when you're on your back, as if they're going to set up an Americana, it hurts like hell, right? You can't even go that far. So when somebody grabs my wrist and I see that's what they're going for, I veer off and I turn. Meaning I would get onto my side, I protect my elbow, I'd make sure there's no way they can get that position at all. Now, if it does get to the point where they do lock my hand on the ground, but I'm on my side trying to protect it and I have no way of getting back in this direction. In fact, the next step is going to be he's going to pull me onto this side. I'll just tap right here. I'll say, dude, I'm good. And oftentimes they'll say, well, what's the matter, right? And I'll say, yeah, my shoulders are kind of jacked. So if you put my hand there, then it's going to hurt. So I can't do that. And oh, sorry, dude, I didn't mean that. I'll play another way, right? So that's kind of what happens. Now, let's kind of get into, the whole metaphor about, are you too old to get a black belt? This is kind of just tangent, made me think about it. Because, as we get older, we do not have, 100% of our original physicality at our disposal. And let's say for an art like jiu-jitsu, you need to have 100% of your natural ability in order to even entertain the idea of earning a black belt, because you have to be proficient in all the areas in the curriculum, and some areas necessitate you be out here, other areas necessitate you be out there, but you have to run the breadth of physical abilities in order to get there. So if you are somebody who has really bad shoulders, like we talked about over here, that's this area. So you come in to take jiu-jitsu for the very first time, and your shoulders are just chronic. It doesn't get any better. You won't have any range. You can't do a lot of stuff with your shoulders that any normal person can do. Well, that means that you're restricted. You can start there, and your jiu-jitsu can only go to here. You can't even go onto this side. So what does that tell you? Well, if you're just looking at it, as a percentage of, achievement, then you're probably looking at about a purple belt right here, right? You're not looking at the brown and the black belt realm. So that would then tell you, yeah, I can't, get a black belt because I can't do what I need to do. That can also work into age. So a lot of people go, well, Ryan, would you, what if you were to start training jiu-jitsu now, would you be able to earn a black belt? And I would probably say with the injuries that I have, let's say, all my injuries and chronic pains are jiu-jitsu related, right? It's all caused by jiu-jitsu because I don't do anything else. So knowing that I have all these ailments, but maybe it didn't come from jiu-jitsu, but I started jiu-jitsu for the first time at age 53. Knowing what I know now, would I expect to get to black belt? And my answer would be no. Ryan Young today, starting jiu-jitsu today, would not be able to get the black belt, only because I just don't have the physical abilities that I once had. So, and I accept that, right? So, for those people that, would get all upset at Dave and for him talking about how he, let's say you are a 90-something-year-old and you start jiu-jitsu and you're extraordinary and you can do all those physical things you need to do for jiu-jitsu, then yeah, of course you can earn your black belt. However, if you're the typical, senior citizen who has lost most of your mobility, most of your strength, then, the chance of you earning it is really small, unless you're just getting, for lack of a better term, the charity belt. But, that's something that Dave is still kind of contemplating and trying to figure out because, jiu-jitsu really, it's not about the belt. It's about the training. It's about learning how to deal with adversity, learning how to improve yourself, to the best that you can do. We're all limited. So hopefully that little picture of our graphic kind of gave you an idea or a metaphor for what we're talking about as far as the belts and as far as injuries and protecting yourself so that you don't make your rehab go backward, right? You always want to go a little bit forward. You just want to kind of just stretch yourself a little bit, but you don't want to re-injure yourself, right? That's why you want to get fixed. So just the mindset has to be, I'm not looking to always win. I'm looking to improve. And eventually to get to a point where you'll improve to where you win, right? You guys all know that I'm a big fan of Formula One racing, and I'm also a big fan of Daniel Ricciardo, who started with Red Bull, which is the favorite team that I have for whatever reason, don't know why, but now he's over at McLaren. Well, he left Red Bull. He was a race winner at Red Bull. I think he won like 8 or 9 races at Red Bull, and then moved to Renault, didn't win a single race there in 2 years, and moved to McLaren and was having a hard time. He was getting spanked by their young gun over there named Lando Norris. And it's still, actually, as of this moment, he's still losing. However, losing to Lando as far as points. However, he was the first of the McLaren guys to actually win a race because he's been there 8 or 9 times prior, so he knows what it's like to have won a race in Formula One, whereas Lando doesn't know what it's like. So Daniel Ricciardo had his chance, and he was able to take advantage of it, and he was able to win. But he did it in a methodical way. So he had to learn this new car, and it's a car that was capable of winning, but he had to learn the idiosyncrasies of the car because everybody's car is designed different. So it's almost like he had an injury, and he had to rehab, and he had to kind of learn a little bit here and a little bit there, and not try to push too hard, too fast, because the car could break in a way that he might not be ready for and would result in a crash or something like that. But he had to slowly start to learn it and start to basically stretch his skills on that car to the point where he did. He won a race. Now, the weekend after that, Lando, his team partner, was in the lead, and he was winning the race. I think 5 laps to go. He's about to win, but because of his it's like his third year, I guess, in Formula One, so he's still young. He hasn't won a Formula One race yet, so he doesn't quite understand that pressure yet and how to deal with it. So when he was put under pressure, he made the wrong decision, and ended up seventh place. Made a mistake and ended up in seventh place. Whereas his partner Ricardo, who was behind him, ended up finishing in fourth, finished ahead of him. So, that's where the veteran who knows how to rehab, so to speak, knows how to get his head in the right space during an injury, so to speak, is able to recover on a path and up his game step by step to the point where he can win and he can be successful. So I hope that works out for you guys, and be sure to comment below any tips and tricks that you might have or metaphors that you might use to help you get in the correct mindset to recover from your injuries or from surgeries. Those are all very helpful to everybody, and I appreciate your contributions. And be sure to like, subscribe, share. Come visit us at KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu online if you'd like to see our training and our curriculum. We'd love to have you there as well. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Take care. Happy training. Bye now.